first news of the day. We have so I'll just read it out for you. Details on Larian Studios Divinity, the new game that we talked about last week, the one that was horrific, to say the least. To say the most, it was probably one of the most violent things I've ever seen in my life. So, that game, that video game, turn-based RPG featuring everything you've seen from us in the past, brought to a new level. Hooray! Doubling down on even more narrative experimentation, and every playthrough can feel different, which I love to see personally. But then there's this little last bullet that people on the internet seem to have witnessed, and they did not take lightly to it. They're using AI tools to explore ideas, but there won't be any AI generated content in the game. Everything is human actors. We're writing everything ourselves. Now, I don't know about you, but I know how to read, right? It's one of the things that I'm most proud of, that I learned to do correctly in my life. But my fault. But for the most part, the internet saw this word right here. I highlighted it. It might be hard to see, but this is AI. This is A and I together to make a word that means AI. People don't like this word at all. They see this word, they start freaking out. They start foaming at the mouth, and they start getting like rage boners and so forth. So let's talk about it, shall we? Can we get some comments? Some comments usually help. Larian bringing turn-based games back to glory. True. If you use AI for game development, all right. So here's a good one. Here's a good one right here. If you use AI for game development, I'm fucking pirating your game. People who do this, I will be honest, they find any reason to want to pirate the game. They were gonna do this irregardless. But sure, bud. Use whatever excuse you want to use. But basically, people don't like it. People don't like it, as you can see. So, people have such a hard issue with it because they saw that they were using AI basically in their post-production process, and then people kind of use that phrase. I can show you in the headline real quick. So, if I was like the canonical news, if I was Fox News, right? Here's what would happen. Give you a little issue of how people do when they read stuff. So they said they were using AI tools to explore ideas, but there won't be any AI generated content into the game. So there won't be. Let's type that. Let's type that down. Let's type that down right now for you. So at the bottom of the headline, there won't be AI. We'll call it Gen AI. There won't be Gen AI in game. So that's what it says at the bottom. Now, because people have this like weird filter in their heads where they read every other word, so we're gonna remove this word won't. There we go. There be Gen AI in game. That is exactly what people see. So, and that's what they're gonna say, and they're already saying it. So, Larian Studios, for the most part, just said that the game is gonna be 85% AI, according to the internet's mindset. Let me stop. I'll just title this Larian AI allegations. Perfect. If not professional. There we go. So let's see what they say to that, to all these immediate AI allegations. So we're gonna read what bro said to not sugarcoat it. To put it lightly, bro said, "Holy fuck, guys, we're not pushing hard." Because I think that's what the narrative was. They said that, and then they're like, "Hey, so Larian's pushing really hard for AI in video games," which he did not say. The internet does a really good job of putting words in people's mouth, you know? So, holy fuck, guys, we're not pushing hard for or replacing concept artists with AI. I was asked explicitly about concept art or use of Gen AI. So then we can read bro's things specifically to find out what he said. So here's the first thing. I will say, if if the internet was true in the misinformation that they were like throwing around everywhere, if Larian was gonna use generative AI in their video game, this game would be publicly shot in the head. Because if there's one thing right now that most of the internet is talking about, it's the usage of generative AI and how they don't like it and how they don't want it. Personally, I myself would say, if you're gonna use it in especially if you make what, like millions of dollars, you don't really need it, bro. Let's be so fucking for real. Let's be completely honest right now. I I don't. They made a lot of money from Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm pretty sure they can pay that money forward to hire the concept artists themselves, which they are going to do, and then hire all the voice actors and so forth. I would say that AI is good for a pre-production tool exclusively for brainstorming and other things like they wanted to do. But let's read what he said. Holy fuck, guys, we're not pushing hard for or replacing concept artists with AI. We have a team of 72 artists, of which 23 are concept artists, and we are hiring more. The art they create is original, and I'm very proud of what they do. I I was asked explicitly about concept art and our use of Gen AI. I answered that we used it to explore things. I didn't say we used it to develop concept art. The artists do that. And they are indeed world class artists. They are in fact world class artists. I will say the art for all the stuff that they make is really, really good. We use AI tools to explore references, just like we use Google and art books. And at the very early ideation stages, we use it as a rough outline for a composition, which we replace with original concept art. There is no comparison. I talked about how we use ML. I don't really know what ML is. A lot of people use random abbreviations. Here, if you would like to know more, we've hired creatives for the talent, not for their ability to do what a machine suggests, but they can experiment with these tools to make their lives easier. So, also welcome on in. Welcome to the news. We are in fact the news. I am news. That is now my name, news. We are currently talking about the Larian Studio AI allegations because bro basically said he was going to use AI for pre-production, and essentially bro got shot in the head on Twitter, which he was not expecting. Because AI is such a hot conversation, and by hot I mean I'm talking touching boiling pot with no gloves hot. No matter what you do, you're gonna get burned. It's hot stuff. Oh look, it's Asmongold. Speaking of Asmongold, if you would like me, news, to be a front runner in gaming news, just like Asmongold, go to my YouTube channel, Evermore Radio, and give me a subscription and watch all my stuff, please. Thank you, Juseo. Anyway, AI informing development of games and media is the future. No amount of downvotes, likes, or social media posts is going to change that. The only reason AI is seen negatively online is artists and media have manufactured false consensus that is bad to protect their jobs. I will say that the AI stuff is not going to go away. The AI things can be very helpful if you use them responsibly. Obviously, there are negatives. There will be people who get replaced by them, which is the fear. I'm pretty sure that's the main fear. I don't know if there's like a South Park meme of people being like they took our jobs. It's like precisely that. That is the primary fear. There's also what else is there? I mean, there's a lot of stuff with it. There's also things of ruining the planet, so on and so forth. There's a current economical crisis. No, I wouldn't. No, I mean, I'd say it's kind of. It could become a crisis if it gets too out of control with how much RAM and GPUs it takes to run all these things, because there's going to be definite shortages of RAM and graphics cards. So if you want to build a computer in 2026 and beyond, it might be harder for you. There's ethics of how to train the models too. Oh, that's true. There's also the ethics because you shouldn't train the generative AI off of unconsenting artists and so on and so forth because they put their stuff on the internet for people to see and for people to I don't judge, I guess. You make something cool, you want people to see it, be like, wow, look at that cool thing. Now, Joe Schmo over here is like, that's a really delicious looking art. I'm gonna put that art in my little computer, and I'm gonna have a computer posting out all this art that I can use for my own nefarious purposes. That's the ethical thing right there. The artist didn't necessarily consent to all the. And some people want to be like, oh well, you put it on the internet, so it's on the internet, so everyone's free to do whatever with everything that they want, like the Wild West or something like that. Um, However, with the law of ethics, there's this thing called the right thing to do and morals and so on and so forth. And that's kind of against morals, you know? We like artists out here. Artists are really cool. What they do is unique to themselves, and it's a really good service for media and entertainment and a lot of other stuff as a whole. So we should try to respect it. I know artists get a lot of guff and they don't get taken seriously, and I can definitely see how they could be taken seriously in this regard because on the internet, when people start crying and complaining and like pointing fingers at stuff that people don't really understand, they get really defensive and they just kind of lash against whatever that is. And they had good points. The generative AI can be a problem, and it will be really lame if a lot of people were out of jobs and so forth. But I think because of the amount of backlash that people got, it caused people to essentially do the opposite as one would do in response to just general. I mean, people don't like being told what to do. If you tell someone what to do, there's a high chance they're going to do the opposite of whatever you're trying to tell them. It's just kind of how it goes. Now, my opinion on the matter is I do believe, because I'm gonna be honest, I know quite a bit about game development. Game development is a lot and it's very technical. There's been AI and stuff for a really long amount of time. It wasn't like this, generative AI that can just create things. I don't want to say from nothing because obviously they use stuff. There were things used to where it can make these things. But, algorithms and algorithms and parameters and a bunch of for loops and shit like that. That is essentially what most AI was and how it used to be. And my opinion on the AI usage in video games is already it shows. There was a video game that came out a couple years back, made by a beloved company, as you will, and it was Bethesda. It was a little game called Starfield. Now, Starfield did not have AI in it. At least I will hope not. However, the game was not received very well. It was very milquetoast, if you will. Bethesda is known for crafting these really large creative worlds, but they used a system in the game called procedural generation. And procedural generation is essentially, without going into this like really intense technical talk, basically they allowed the computer to make the liberties of just creating a whole bunch of planets based off of things that they fed it. So, this planet right here will be a ball that is a moon, and the moon might have a monster on it, and it might have some people, and it might have some quests to do. But you see how vague I just said that I didn't say anything specific? That's basically how it is. It wasn't, crafted by a person. When Bethesda makes stuff, when they make quests, the quests are intricate. The people have personalities, people have stake in it. But they're with the procedural generation that they put in Starfield, you can kind of tell how hands off it felt, how empty the worlds were, and how just not really great it was to play, basically. Um, so I do not like Starfield because of that, right? Now imagine what would happen if Starfield was made in like 2028 and then they were like, "Hey, we use Chat GPT to just kind of craft all the worlds and so forth," it would be about the same thing. It would, a person did make it, and it wouldn't be great. But but there was stuff in Starfield that I did enjoy. I believe there was this museum that talked about the history of the lore of the universe in Starfield. I thought that was really cool because they were like, "There's this planet that's been overrun by all these." It's been so long since I played the game, and I lost all my information on it. But it was overrun by a bunch of monsters or aliens or some shit like that, and the planet became uninhabitable. But there's a lot of valuable stuff at the planet still, and that was a planet that they made. It was lore that they made. It was something that they set up. People made that, and you can tell. That's why it was interesting. And I thought to myself, man, I can't wait to go there. I didn't even make it to the next planet because the procedural generation got me, and I got incredibly bored, and I stopped playing. So that is my opinion on what just letting the computer. Once again, I don't want to say go buck wild because going buck wild requires creativity. The computer would go buck miltoast on the game, and it'll make the game boring. So I'm definitely glad to see that Larian is not doing this. I do feel like people might have seen the words AI and they like Baldur's Gate, so they were like, "Oh my god, they're gonna use AI for the game. Get them out of here." I always knew that they were a shit company, all that stuff. But I don't I don't think it's that. ML stands for machine learning. My fault. I see that down there. I think he used ML because he didn't want to say any more computer smart words. It might piss people off more. But yeah, definitely to like wrap up the conversation, there's another thing that he made. Is this also on that? Oh yeah. So, basically I think bro essentially was like, "Hey, so that shit was crazy. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here and I'm gonna go have my holidays. It's been a week since we announced Divinity, our next RPG. A lot has become lost in translation, which it has because that's just kind of how it goes. I feel like with the internet, outrage culture is still really, really at large, where you'll say something that people don't enjoy, and they'll take that, and then it'll snowball essentially. However, instead of snow, it's molten lava. So the molten lava snowballs, and then everybody involved in it just starts getting burned alive. So, I mean, some people also did say, maybe just don't talk about it. I would also say that it's good for companies to be transparent. Absolutely. However, developers got to understand consumers are not developers. They don't really understand anything that goes into the process of making these things. All they know is what they don't like and what people tell them. So let's keep this in mind. But anyway, the next stuff that he said was Larian's DNA is agency. Everything we work towards is to benefit of our teams, games, and players, a better workday, and better game. Our successors come from empowering people to work in their own way and bring the best out of their skills and craft so that we can make the best RPGs we can possibly make. In that context, it would be irresponsible for us to evaluate new technologies. However, our processes are always evolving, and where they are not efficient or fail to align with who we are, we will make changes. To give you more insight, we'll do an AMA featuring our different departments after the holiday break, in which you'll get the opportunity to ask us any questions you have about Divinity and our dev processes directly. We'll announce the date in the new year. In the meantime, I wish you all happy holidays. And I feel like that's probably the best thing Bro could say. Essentially, he sees how, and I will say this: a lot of people are uneducated in how all this technology stuff goes, and I don't blame people for being uneducated. It's a lot to ask of a person to just understand all this tech shit. You know, um, it's a lot. So basically, he's like, to the people who care, we're gonna show you, what it takes for us to do what we do, and they're gonna give an insight, which is good. Companies should be transparent. W on bro for showing transparency in the workplace and to the consumers. Because there's like there's a veil between consumers and corporations, and the veil like is trying to get torn down, but you know they always keep trying to like put the curtains over our eyes and stuff like that. But I believe in them. I'm a really bad Larian fan, so you can call me biased if you want, but I love everything that they make, and I believe in them. I don't really think they're doing anything nefarious, and I really don't think that they're trying to be fucking lazy AI slop generator people. I think that they're just gonna make a giant ass game, and they just want tools that help their people make the game as best as possible. Genuinely. But that's all that we have for that post. This is the next part for the YouTube. We have breaking chat. I think pre-production AI could be fine, but I'd hate for it to evolve into LOL. Let's just use AI for everything. See, that right there would be where it goes bad, because obviously, you know, the road to things are generally paved with good intentions, but then there are bad people that get on the good people road, right? You know, they take advantage of the good intention paved roads, and then they're just like, oh shit, free road, give it. I'm gonna take it now, and you can obviously show that. I mean, it shows because I don't know about you. I watch a lot of TV. More on that later. Well, by TV I mean streaming. So I watch a lot of streaming services, but some of my streaming services have commercials, and I have seen quite the amount of AI slop commercials from the retailers at McDonald's. And let me tell you, I already don't like commercialism, because commercialism is literally just made to want people to buy stuff and spend their money on things. But you know, when they use AI for it, it takes everything away, because you know they try. You know, they'll get John Cena, and John Cena will be like, "You can't see me. You also can't see these hot, fresh deals," or something like that. But you know, it's like it's cheeky, it's corny. John Cena is a real person, but say you know we have AI John Cena. It's like, hello, AI John Cena, you can't see me. You know, like shit like that. It's not great. You would be like, what the fuck is that? That's not John Cena. Get him out of here. I feel like you have to trust the intelligence and integrity of the developers. It's obvious when a company gives up and turns into a cash grab. Assassin's Creed. Oh god, not the fucking Ubisoft stray. That's the bad company right there. And definitely, you can tell when something's lost its soul, lost its love, turned into a shell of its former self type shit. And Larian isn't there yet. I hope they never get there. But you can tell when a company's gotten there. It's you know it's why the Assassin's Creed games just generally aren't beloved anymore. There's a nostalgia for them, definitely. I'll play Black Flag if they give me Black Flag right now. I'll play it because that's one of their last good ones. If they give me the one with the train, I'll try it again. But I never really gave it a chance. But you know that was when I started getting tired. Was with the I think it was called Syndicate. But yes, Um, in general, with the AI conversation, we will talk about it more. Because we have another game, but I'm gonna take a break in the AI conversations to talk about like a couple other things. But generally, we gotta keep an eye out for the people who are using the AI just to get a leg up on the competition and a leg up on the consumerism, and to the people who actually want to use it to just make their stuff better, if that makes sense.